always helps if you turn it on. It's a strange Sunday almost between Christmas and New Year. And Elvis decided that someone else should come and speak to you, so not me. I wouldn't have done it because the pantomime season is over. So
Oh no, is it?
yes, it is. Well, I still think it should be. But if David was here, you wouldn't respond like that. You would all be.
Oh,
Right. Well, I don't know. Well, what I've come to talk about this morning is called playing your part. So hopefully a screen will come up and say playing your part. My original title I was going to do this turned out to be the same title as my last speech, so I sort of thought I'd better try and do something different. But I've now done almost a minute, so it's time for an advert. So I'm going to plug a band called The Blast. Here they are. This is what they look like. They're a local band. They're very, very good. And they're very good because I think they practice, they play together beforehand, and they've got all the stuff, all those guitars and that, so they're there, and you know, they know the words. They're pretty good. So I recommend you to go and see them. However, even the best bands can have problems. When I saw them last time, look what happened. Gate crashes. Gate crashes. Now, the thing I want you to notice amongst these two gate crashers is if you look around you, they look like you. They haven't got a uniform, they don't look special, they don't look, you know. They've just got up and they want to commandeer that mic, and they decided that they're gonna join in the band from the front. They could have stayed at the back, couldn't they, mate? But they didn't. They actually got at the front, and the band decided to play along with these two ladies. Now, the important thing about that was that these two were playing their part. And there's a benefit of playing the part. And the next slide's going to show you one of the benefits. She finished the song, she went back, and she didn't just sit down and go, well, now I'll have another beer. As you can see, well, absolutely not. She got up with the rest of her mates, and they started having a cracking time. So perhaps there's a lesson that if we get inspired and we can do that, we can take a spark back and perhaps inspire those people that are around. It's quite difficult at times, especially if they've had a heavy Christmas like most of you. And do you know what? It gets even better. Because what happened after this, more people got up. In fact, it's very noticeable. I usually sit with these three gentlemen at the front. They very rarely get up, and nor do I. But virtually everyone else is up and engaged. They are playing their part. They're not sat there. They're involved. And you know what? They're having a great time. They're having a great time. So today, obviously, I'd like to apply that a little bit about, for us, playing our part in a Christian way, as well as doing that. Last Sunday, I was out dancing. But today, I'm just here talking. To play a full part, okay? Now you can be, in a film, there's lots of extras that you don't see, the cast of thousands that are now all CGI'd. And you get the walk-on people, and you get the one-liners, so they say something. But actually, none of you want to be like that, do you? Come on. You want to be a better role than that. And the Lord would say, He wants you to have a bigger role, because He'll give you a bigger role as you want. You're the restrictor, not Him. But for most of us, we've got to start thinking because we haven't really got a clue about what we should do. That's the most difficult thing. It's almost like, where should we go on holiday this year? It's, the whole world's there, but you sit there having a long think about where you're going to go. And so, at this time of the year, one of the things about this time of year in the mid-term is you look back and you look forward. So in the looking forward, start thinking now and praying about what it is that you should be doing. How do you play your part? Is it going to be to come up and join these people here? Now, a few of you remember, we've been praying for how long to get an active worship group? Oh, wow. Go on. It doesn't stop there. And the challenge is for Lucy and crew, is when other people want to come and join them. Perhaps people who aren't so gifted in singing or in playing or in whatever else. But unfortunately, they've got to be graceful enough to go, come on, take them under their wings, train them, and then set them to go and do more. People who are doing things now have got to bring other people in to get them fired up as well. But you've got to step forward. They can't come and catch you. We don't chase after people here. You just come when you don't come. So you've got to start thinking about what you want to be doing. But the critical thing next, thinking does not equal doing. Okay? If your boss said, I'm thinking about paying you, but didn't, yeah, there's a few of you going, oops. You see, you do know the difference between thinking and doing. So when you've worked out what you think you should be doing, what you think your calling is, then you've actually got to step out and start doing it. If that's fuel, get database checked, or whatever they call it, DBS, and come. You haven't actually got to do very much. You can watch other people running, doing all the sporty things and getting tired out, while the rest of us go, we can't do that, we're too long, don't we? But you just have to turn up, make a toast, talk to people, talk to the kids, talk to the caretaker. You can do it, it's easy. There are so many things that are easy. Come and make the tea or coffee, even I can do it, it's easy. Put the chairs away, it's easy. Take part, do something. But whatever you do, be led by the Spirit to do it. Because some of you might think that you're going to be mountaineers and set up there up Mount Everest. Not a good idea, folks. Okay? I struggle to walk up the Malverns these days, but, you know, be led by the Spirit to where you're going to be. Because He will lead you in the right way to what you can achieve. Okay? Now, to play your full part, the next part of it is how to play. Back, be led by the Spirit. Don't try to do things in your own strength, because that's where we fail. I always find it, if you don't pray about it and you just think, I'll do it, don't be surprised if it doesn't go right. Pray about things. Ask for the opportunities. Ask for things to happen to go right. Be in prayer. Which leads nicely onto the second part. It seems like I almost prepared this. Pray for His equipping. This is the important thing. Not just your training. Sharon's not here. I was going to say you could train to be an accountant. It's not about that. God gives us things to do. His gifts. Accept them. Ask for them. Be equipped. Only an idiot tries to do things unless they're properly equipped. So if we go for a walk up the Malverns, we're going to put our walking boots on, hopefully, and our caggles and our wetproofs and everything else. third word there is persist. Persist. Keep on. Because what happens, I can tell you, and I'll tell you what happens to everyone in everything that you try to do that has a real purpose, long-term, big-term purpose. You'll get tired, you'll get bored, you'll get distracted, you'll think, oh, is it really me? Surely someone else should do it. It's someone else's turn. I've got better things to do. I'm not seeing the fruit yet. I'm not seeing the fruit yet. Persist. If it's right, it comes good. I'm thinking of fuel. The first time we had the fuel, a fuel here, I think there were 12 or 14 helpers, and I think there were 5 children, 4 of whom we knew. That should have been enough for most of us to decide that perhaps this wasn't a good idea. Now, those who do fuel understand that we needed practice. We needed to learn what to do when children came. It's not as easy as it sounds. Yeah, the people who come to fuel know. And what God did was He was gracious. He's given us helpers who come very faithfully. He's given us more children. And recently, of course, He's moved us into the school. He's given us bigger premises. And instead of having 5 kids, we generally have 25 kids, which is about the number that you can manage. Persistence. Persistence. When you start doing something, don't give up. Don't be a quitter. If it's right and God's called you to do it, He is doing something in you. He is building the foundations. If you build a house, as I'm learning, you do the foundations. And when you do the foundations, you don't see them. You think there's nothing there and nothing's happening. But unless you've got strong foundations, what you build doesn't stand up. And what we are doing here is building for the kingdom. This stands for eternity. David said a few weeks ago when we were doing Fuel on the Streets, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, it can get jolly cold for those of us who are out there in the Christmas market. It can rain, it can snow. And the biggest thing that really happens is people say, no thank you. Generally they say thank you, but no. Rejection. Well, early Christians were whipped, beaten, crucified, whatever else. So having someone say no is not a big deal. In fact, if most people didn't say no, we couldn't get everybody in this room, could we? People are not saying no to you. When you offer Jesus, they say no to Him, not to you. Expect rejection. Jesus came from heaven, was born, and is rejected. So you're in good company. Expect to be rejected. It's not the end of the world. And I've written next, it's never over. I was a Sunday school teacher for 25 years, and I thought, I've actually done enough for my time now. I've proved to the Lord that I can do this. And I stopped and thought, wow. Now that was 20 years ago, more. And this year, Sharon, who's not here, kindly asked if I'd like to go and help with the Sunday school. And I thought, well, there's 2 things. I thought, oh, that's been the honest bit. And I said the slightly dishonest bit, love to. Like everybody does when Sharon asks them to do something. Whew. best things this year was spending time with his kids. Wow, great. What a blessing. And yet you could sit there and not experience it. You can put up with Manly, because actually that's what you get. Yeah, you see, but he can bless you. He was blessing us in the prayer time before we came to service here. Step out and get the blessing. Step out and get the blessing. You're never too old. I'm looking around, yeah, there's a few that's older than me, so that's okay. Right, you're never too old, Jeff. Next slide, please. Just some tips on being successful, because God wants us to be successful. God doesn't want us just to play the part. He wants you to be the part. He wants you to be successful. He is not having killed here that we'll have 10 people or 20 people or 30 people. It's 100 people. It's 1,000 people. To be successful, be disciplined. If you go to work, I can just about remember it. You're supposed to be there at 9 and you work till 5. But if you keep turning up at 10 or 11 or you forget to go in that day, you don't keep the job for very long as a rule. You get to be disciplined. And so therefore, when you're trying to study, be disciplined. We heard from Jo that she was reading the Bible this morning. Discipline. I bet she was praying this morning. Discipline. The two fundamentals. Just think about it when you wake up. You wake up, thank you, you've woken me up. Now where are we going? Be disciplined in what you do. Second, pray more. You can never pray enough. Keep giving it to him. Keep giving it to him. If you think, I don't know about this, give it to him. If you think, I do know about this, give it to him. Pray. It's the weapon the world hasn't got, and it's the weapon we've been given, and it's the weapon we often forget to use. Pray. The example I want to do for join in is a rugby scrum. So there's one or two of you who watch rugby. I like watching rugby. And a rugby scrum is 8 blokes who get together, get a grip, and start pushing. Now, if there's 3 or 4 of you don't get such a good heave, 5 or 6 you get better, 7 or 8 you've got a team, and then you can cheat and more people can come in, and if you want to push over the line, you suddenly find there's not 8 of you, but there's 10 or 12 of you can cheat. There's no restriction, just go in and push. Joining in is a lot easier than doing things on your own. If you're starting to think, what should I do? What do I do for Kiln? What can I do? I assure you, the way to start is look at what's already happening and then saying, can I join in and support that? Rather than thinking necessarily of something that's new. Joining in gives you the contacts and the support for the people that are already doing it. As I said earlier, it means that they can shepherd you, they can help you, they can support you, you can learn from them, you can help them. Join in. Don't miss the opportunity to join in. The next time we say the Kiln's on the streets, just turn up. You haven't got to stay for hours. And if you're lucky, it won't be raining. It actually is an exception. It's a real test. Now, I said earlier about being your actor and you being your little one of the 1,000 in the crowd, the standing, the walk on, the little part. God does not see you that way. God sees you as stars. Stars without a limit. When you look at a star in the sky, it's astonishing how far that light has travelled and how far the star is away. but you can see them. And that's God's relationship with us, where He starts. And He wants you to be successful. And believe it or not, one of the next keys to being successful is to lead in whatever way you can. That might mean that you pour out the tea and coffee rather than put out the cups. It might mean that you stack the chairs like Roy does, because he's the skillful stacker, than just putting them on top of each other. Okay? Be a star. There's nothing wrong in that. Often we're all reserved and think, oh, it's someone else. Well, I think that's rubbish. If God calls you to be something, be it. Next. So what I've talked about is all rubbish so far. So what you have to do is, if we're scientific, is look at the evidence, because evidence is pretty good as a basis of going forward. So I wanted to look at evidence. And the best place of looking at evidence, since we're talking about church and Kiln, is to look at Kiln and say, what's the evidence of Kiln? Kiln, a church that's been going 2 years. 2 years. And in 2 years, I'm going to break the 8-point slide rule here. And I've tested your eyesight. The number of people that come regularly is going up. It's fantastic. God is growing His church. You can run down the list. I don't want to take time. We've got a worship group. Fantastic. All of these things are actually happening recently, and more things will happen. Looking forward, it's great to think, what has God got in store? But we are seeing God working here. We're great to have David. But I wouldn't dare put and say, David, all the success is down to you, nor would he want me to say that. The success is down to the Lord leading and people working together to achieve all of these things. Most of those things you can join in. I've put men's meeting, but there's about to be a ladies' meeting as well. So there are these things that are still happening as well. Now, I don't think there's any more slides. Is there anyone going to surprise me, or have I forgotten now? One more. There's one more. Oh, we can look forward. I thought there were 3 areas we could look forward to. We're going to pray about what we want in 2025. We want more people to meet Jesus. We're taking this, the good news is Jesus. We're not taking them out for clubs or whatever else. We want people to meet Jesus. Then there's the next category, which is most of us here. Grow our relationship with Him. We can be stronger Christians, we can be closer with Him, we can hear Him better, we can engage better with Him, with each other. Gosh, we want to engage with people. And here, there's a church where you can engage. It's actually quite different just to sit at the back, because normally I get a seat out and make people sit down here. I think latecomers should always sit in the front row. We talk about this, we're utterly dependent on God. Not our strength, His strength, Him, His Spirit. His Spirit is here week after week after week. We get His presence, but with His presence comes these 2 other important things, fruits of the Spirit. Look them up. You know what they are, but they apply to you. Grab them. Gifts. Who's going to be the prophet amongst us? Who are the teachers amongst us? Who are the administrators amongst us? If you haven't got that gift, ask for it. It's not about what you think you can be. At school, you can think back, I was useless at maths. really, which was absolutely why I decided that I should become an accountant, because numbers have nothing to do with that. He will gift you. You can do things if you have the gifting. Critically, opportunities. If Louise and I went back, not so long ago, probably 10 years ago, we had a problem. We didn't know non-Christians, probably because they gave us a wide berth. All our friends were Christians, all the people we mixed with were Christians. What a nice little world to live in. You need the opportunity to meet non-Christians. And perhaps you need the opportunity to meet Christians who have needs. Ask for God to give you these opportunities. That means joining what we're already doing. Or, if you're brave and you want it, go for it. If you say, I've got a calling and I want to do something, I don't believe for a moment David's going to say, oh, there's sunshine. It's go for it. This is a go for it church, because we have a go for it God. 2025 is going to be an exciting year. Next week, almost not by coincidence, but next week, this time next week, David will be telling us about what the plans are for 2025. And I'm looking forward to hearing what that is. I'm quite sure it's going to be carry on what we were doing before, and perhaps look for what else we can do. Because in 2 years, I don't think people could imagine what's been achieved in the 2 years. Not in their dreams. It's true. But he's achieved it. So what's he going to do in just 1 more year's time? Looking forward to it. Now, what we're going to do next is we're also going to go for it. The music group's going to come back. We're not really going to end the service as such. If you want to go, we can go. But we've created a little bit of space so that you can come and worship at the front if you want to worship at the front. I've provided a couple of people so that you can be prayed for if you want to be prayed for. If you think you want to pray for someone else, go and do it. There's no magic thing about that. Just go and do it. Go and ask them if you can pray for them. Don't sit there and just think, oh dear, and let it roll by. This is too exciting. Too exciting. Over to my stars and music.